Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rachel Stanley, and I am here today to discuss with you sweatshops, where they are, how they affect us, and what you can do about it. Sweatshops are something that many people don't know anything about. Many people think that slavery stopped years ago, but what they don't understand is that it's something that's ongoing in other countries and even still quietly here in our own country. The U.S. Department of Labor defines sweatshop factories as a factory that violates two or more labor laws, such as these pertaining to wages and benefits, child labor, and working hours. Many people don't realize that labor hours are broken in restaurants, or labor hours are broken in many companies, or sometimes you miss a lunch or a break. But it's actually a worldwide problem that awareness needs to be raised about. I find it interesting to say the poorer the country, the more exploitable the country. Countries in higher poverty levels tend to become prey to predator. They get attacked by larger companies who can use their workers who are out of work looking to make the smallest amount of money that they can, and they're willing to work endless hours to do so. They're extremely taken advantage of, and they find themselves living in this poverty forever. You may question how this affects you, what you can do about it. It's a worldwide problem. We have so many of them. It's just another one to add to the list. The U.S. started sending some of their major businesses out of the country so that they can lower labor costs and mass produce and manufacture their products at a faster rate. We then import them here. One of the things that many people don't realize is that so many of these companies are starting to do that, and it's causing a high job loss in America. Some of you may think that your family members were laid off over the past couple of years, and it's really just not the case. Yes, they were laid off, but they were laid off so that the company could bring it outside of the country and pay someone chump change, basically, for what they were making their salary off of. It also raises the question of morals and values. Do these situations bother us? Is it something that's important to us? Is it something we would want our family members going through in other countries? How much are we willing to put up with before we finally lend a helping hand? One of the major problems in sweatshops is child labor. Many children who are actually abducted and never see their families again are used for their small, fast hands, especially in carpentry. Our rugs that we import are hand knitted by young children from sunrise to the middle of the night. These children are physically and emotionally abused, and if they disobey, oftentimes confined in small spaces. The International Labor Organization has estimated 250 million children between the ages of 5 and 14 are being illegally worked. Approximately 75% of Pakistani girls under 14 years old are used for carpentry. 61% of these child labor problems are found in Asia, with 32% in Africa and 7% in Latin America. The number here in America isn't released on any reputable sites. However, it is known that it happens. The work hours are horrendous. If they get any work hours at all, they're working from sunrise to the middle of the night at minimal to no pay. They oftentimes don't get breaks. They have to just rest their head on the table. One of our U.S. soccer coaches, who was raised Catholic and finds problems such as these very important, played soccer, and he was a soccer coach for a U.S. university. When Nike decided to sponsor this team, he decided to go work in an Indonesia work factory, sweatshop, to see what they were really all about. It was there he discovered that 1/2 to 1/4 of the wages that these workers make barely covered their expenses, if it even got them 2 meals a day. He also found that they were confined and living in spaces as small as 9x9s, where multiple families were living, if they were even lucky enough to be living with their families. John Keaty was later fired from his job and now travels the country speaking about sweatshops. Some of the products that are made are, of course, by Nike, the top company to use sweatshops. clothing, with the majority of garments being made by women working 60 to 85 hours a week with minimum to no pay. Rugs, of course, as I said, with high child labor law. Toys made in China, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. In China, they find 30 cents an hour for making the toys, while here in America, we are paid $11 an hour in toy companies. The chocolate that we have is 43% cocoa beans, and it has actually been shown that they have labeled it child slavery in many of these cocoa bean countries. Bananas, which are some of our most exploited workers, work overtime at little to no pay with no breaks and are often working with pesticides that make them very sick and end up getting no care when they become ill. Coffee, of course, our second largest import next to oil. Many of these farmers receive less pay for their product than it actually costs to produce it. You may wonder what companies that you're purchasing from have sweatshops, and the list is quite honestly long. We find it in Nike, Walmart, Hanes, Kohl's, IKEA, so many companies, Abercrombie and Fitch. With Nike, 1% of their U.S. budgeting could actually double the wages that they pay their workers. Instead, they spend the rest, they pocket the rest of the profits. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, over 50% of the U.S. garments are made in sweatshops right here in our country, found in California, New York, or cities such as Dallas, Miami, and Atlanta. The U.S. government also gives foreign aids to countries whose poverty is linked to the exploitation of U.S. businesses operating abroad. You may want to know where you can go and what you can do to help. You might not be able to solve this problem yourself, but of course, as any other world problem, you can take minimal steps. You can do anything. Obviously, you have to eat and you have to dress, so you won't be able to avoid shopping at these stores. But as Dwight Eisenhower says, in order to fix a problem, we must make it larger. We have to magnify this problem and pinpoint where we can start, what things we can do to help. You can shop sweat-free. There are sweat-free communities that have published Shop with a Conscious Consumer Guide, and you can find these sweat-free options on websites such as www.sweatfree.org/shopping guide, International Labor Forum, and of course the Department of Labor Rights. And me, here today, I can answer any questions that you may have. I hope that in this short time I've been able to give you a little bit of knowledge that may inspire you to help raise awareness or take some small steps in working towards finding a solution to end child labor, adult abuse, child abuse, sweatshops all around. Hopefully you enjoyed your day today, and if you have any questions, I am here to answer them. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming out.